this. Like it really does work.
That is so cool. Okay, we're right back here. Part 2 of the podcast on a crazy afternoon here at Detroit Coney Grill of Scottsdale, and a beautiful Scottsdale afternoon.
Look at those
A little
trees,
warm, but
like
yeah, this is a great backup here, right?
Yeah.
And Hayden Road right behind us too. There's this thing coming up. We talk about the game, so we already talked about the Packers and Lions coming in. I think the Lions will take that game because the Packers just ain't got it together yet. I think with Hunchback, Jordan Love is in trouble.
Yes.
I really do. And I think that with that new defensive tackle, Williams, and Lee McNeil's ready, those two are going to be.
Who are you double teaming? You're the center. You look right and you got McNeil. You look left and you got Williams. You're like, what the fuck?
You go even further left to get Aiden Hutchinson, and over here you probably got Marcus Davenport and Cesarian Smith.
Well, the center's not going to be able to take one of them.
No.
So the guard is going to have to double team, and now you can't double the edge pass rusher.
But can you see this part here when they're out like that, and the nose tackle is just going to go out, but the other two are going to be knocked in by the other, by Hutchinson or McNeil.
They're too big. They're too strong.
It's going to be a destructive line.
They're too strong.
And people talk about the line, but right behind them, you got Jack Campbell, you got Alex Anzalone, you got Rodrigo, you got Barnes, you got good linebackers. Yes. Behind them, you got Kirby Joseph, right? And you got Brian Branch.
Yep.
Then you got DJ Reed, Reed, and Terrion Arnold will improve bunches this year.
And if not, Rick Shaw will get his chances too.
That's true. Rick Shaw, I think, will be on the immediate on the bench relief for both of them. But you look at Terrion Arnold had some great plays last year, but he's played college too much, getting his hands in people's faces, getting the penalties. But I think he's going to calm it down now and do a lot better.
If he takes less chances, I think he'll be a better corner.
Bingo! I think you just hit the nail on the head there.
If he takes less chances, I think he'll be a better corner.
Yep. Yeah. But he is a good corner. He's
great
going to be an
great cover guy.
Oh, he's a wonderful cover guy.
Great cover guy.
Yeah. Stays right with him. So there's your D right there. Yeah. Now let's play a little game called Detroit Lions offense. Do not change it. Doesn't need to be changed. I'll start with the freaking line. Give me Taylor Decker. Give me Radcliffe or Radleaf or whatever his name is from Georgia. And then, of course, Frank Ragnow. But I think they're going to see Frazier next to Panay Sewell.
You think he's going to start?
I think he's going to start. And there's Aiden Hutchinson's clear to come
what
back.
About Manu, our big, giant guy?
Manu on the bench. Or special plays. Instead of using your tight end, bring Manu and put Manu in.
Yep.
And leave the two tight ends on the other side.
I'm gonna give a little fantasy tidbit to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not as high on Sam Laporta for fantasy this year than I have been in the past.
Because he won't get the ball as much. No, he won't. Exactly he won't. You got Jameson Williams, Amon St. Brown.
Yeah.
Tesla.
Yeah.
Patrick. You got all these, and the new guy. The Tesla, right.
Can I tell you something? That's not even the reason why. I have a feeling that you're going to see Jahmyr Gibbs in the flat getting the ball a lot more. Or lining up in the slot a lot more. Because if I have both Montgomery and Gibbs, I'm putting both on the field, and I'm making a linebacker having to cover one of those guys, and it's going to be Gibbs. And which linebacker is fast enough or shifty enough or even good enough to stay with Gibbs?
I really don't care who it is.
No, Ray Lewis was never a great cover guy. And by the way, Ray Lewis is a good friend. Yeah. Hi, Ray. Love you, brother. Amen. Yes. God-fearing man right there.
Yes, he's
one of the best guys you'll ever meet.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you see the persona of someone on the field and then you see him in person.
Oh.
And it's 180 degrees. Hi, how are you?
But can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Man of God.
Yes.
Absolutely love and respect him for everything.
Man of faith. We love that. Yeah. And Hutch with 7.5 sacks last year. He'll pass that. He'll double that easy.
Well, he did 7.5 sacks in 3 games.
I know. We're watching that there.
Yeah. He was still in the sacks. He didn't play for half the year, and he was still at the top of the sack leaders.
Oh, God, I know. And as good as Jerry Smith came out, he got one. He goes, he's still short of Hutch. Anyway, back to the games just a little bit here. Chicago, Detroit. Now, when Chicago comes to Detroit, it's
can't wait for that ass
Ben Johnson show.
Can't wait for that.
Here, Ben Johnson show, and I think the rest of the players will want to do it too.
Yep.
I think everybody's on the line there. That Monday night game
we
with
do
the
have
Ravens.
Okay, so I have that as our first loss.
You will not have an empty seat in this place.
No, I have that as our first loss.
Right, and everyone's hoping for the upset because everybody knows that we're not favored in it. There's only 2 games we're not favored in this year. Them and the Eagles on Sunday Night Football, week 17. And this place will be packed for that one too. We got to beat the Eagles. I would love that. I've got Eagles fans coming out of my ass. And they're all over. Cincinnati's an interesting one, though. I think it's going to be an interesting one. We're at Cincinnati. You see Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase,
Scary game.
I think it's going to be fun. And the corners and safeties are going to work out.
Their defense is not going to be able to stop our offense.
I don't think so. I think the whole problem is their offense.
I think whoever gets one more possession is going to win that game. Not the last possession. Whoever ends up with more possessions will win that game.
More possession. I have to agree with you on that.
Yeah, I just think that's just going to be a straight shootout.
Yeah, because Cincinnati doesn't sit back and just run for 3 yards.
No, they won't.
He balls it.
He balls
Burrow
it.
balls it, and he's got the people to do it with too.
Yes, yeah.
But I'll see that. The one that's also going to be fun too is Dallas at Detroit coming up. We have a Dallas at Detroit.
Dallas is if you're not a Cowboy fan, you know what Dallas is really about.
You really do.
Come on,
we
now.
know that.
Come on, now. Without the refs, they're never going to beat anybody.
That's it exactly. And the only problem Dallas has, and the only thing they need to do in their team, is for Jerry Jones, the owner, to fire Jerry Jones, the general manager, and then maybe a team can start and let people do their fucking jobs.
There's no question.
He doesn't let them do that. Kansas City, right?
Big game.
KC. We're in Arrowhead, ladies and gentlemen.
Big game.
We are in Arrowhead, and I think that is a Sunday night game also.
Yeah, that's the prime
it sure
time
is.
Game.
It sure is. And that's going to be a fun one to watch too, though. But Jared Goff is 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
That had 3-0 against
one
Patrick
game
Mahomes.
They won 54-52.
The great one. That
you
was
remember
the
that?
Rams.
The back and forth.
The Rams Chiefs game.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2023.
Yeah. Everybody wanted to see that Super Bowl, but Tom Brady said, "Not so fast."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It was just.
Yeah.
But that game didn't stop.
No.
That game did not stop.
That was probably one of the most entertaining games I've ever watched.
I think so. I'll go
from start to finish.
I'll
Just
go
back
on
and
with
forth,
that.
back and forth. Yeah.
The other one for me was the Minnesota Miracle. All right, when they were playing the Saints.
Yeah, you know what?
I just had a heart attack when I saw that. I just screamed. I mean,
the Saints had 2 years of just straight bad luck.
Oh yeah.
The calls or whatever.
Really?
No Super Bowl. And Drew Brees is such a class act. He deserved to at least get to the Super Bowl in one of those other years.
He's got to be a man of faith with 8 kids.
Yes,
I mean, just Tampa Bay Monday Night Football. I don't see a big thing on that.
You know what? I know you don't. They always play us tough, but I think we're going to come away with the win there.
I do. Cincinnati is going to be so. Cleveland is going to be the biggest knockover. It's just scary.
Who's throwing the ball?
Huh?
What week is that?
Nobody has an idea who's throwing the ball.
Week
Cleveland
4.
is 4.
Shador will not be in the game yet.
At home.
Yeah.
And Shador is not going to show up for 2 years. I just
don't do that. I want to say something about Shador. First of all, I am not a fan of whether you want to say his dad's, or whatever. Once he gets a reality check and humbles himself and starts from scratch again, and I think it's going to take someone like Brady to sit this kid down, because Brady's a big fan of his, and say, "Listen, bro,
I think you're right on that, because I think Brady wanted to get him to the Raiders so he could do just that. So he could do just that.
And he knew that with what he was doing, he didn't want him on the Raiders, and neither did any of the other teams. Like, you can't show up to an interview with headphones on, with the music playing, and answering your phone while you're at a job interview.
And tell them they would have won had they had you.
Yes.
No,
so here's the thing.
Work in an interview.
But here's what I will say about.
He thought it was recruiting and not an interview.
Here's what I will say about his potential and his talent. Shador Sanders had no running game in Colorado, and an average offensive line.
Okay.
And the boy made plays.
And the boy did make plays. He made some plays.
He was under duress all the time.
He also had Travis Hunter helping out.
He had Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
That reminds me a lot of a younger Matt Stafford with the Lions. No running game, average offensive line with one great receiver.
That's really true.
Yeah.
And Megatron's there.
That was it. So
that was the whole game.
And that's just it. So if they covered Travis Hunter, it was over for him. He'd have to, run around and whatever. He made plays. He has a lot of potential. What he has to do is he has to get his neck up part right.
Right.
Neck down, he's phenomenal. Right. Just has to get his head right.
I'm with you on that. That's a really good analogy. Yeah. Because I was talking to some of the guys the other night, and we're talking about if Matthew Stafford just had either one of the two, Gibbs or Montgomery.
No, any semblance of a running game.
Any semblance of a running game. There was no semblance whatsoever.
And when we did have one, he got hurt. Javid Best got hurt. Reggie Bush got hurt. Yeah, whoever we had, it was like coming here, and it was a graveyard for running backs.
No, one of the best games I ever saw was Reggie Bush and Joik Bell. And it was the Packers on Thanksgiving Day.
I do remember that.
That was a great game. That was them all the way.
That was one of the better games.
That was them rocking and rolling all through the midnight hour. I just love that game.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine called me and said, "Oh, the Packers got that lead." I said, "Well, it's not over yet. Joy Bell ran like a bitch.
Did you see
Reggie
that?
Bush.
Wayne State, my alma mater.
There you go,
Yeah.
right? And both of them had over 100 yards.
Yeah,
And Stafford was just free throwing it everywhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna date myself. We were the Tartars back then. Now
Oh
we're
my
the
God, you
Warriors.
are, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was the absolute worst collegiate sports name until I moved out here to Arizona.
And the Fighting Artichokes?
Yes.
The
What's
Fighting
an
Artichokes.
artichoke gonna do? So at least a tartar can fuck up your teeth.
Oh,
what's
still,
what's a fighting artichoke, Mike? Help me out here.
I don't know. I don't.
How is an artichoke?
Doesn't like break open with butter?
No.
Do you
Might
steam
fall
them?
on you. Might be under the tree.
I
Might
don't
fall on
know.
your head.
Do you serve
Poke
it
you
with
in the eye.
pate? I
The
sit there.
fighting artichokes.
The only other names I can think of is University of California Irvine, the Anteaters.
Well, yeah.
All right. But the one I love the most, University of Santa Cruz, the Fighting Banana Slugs.
The banana
The
slugs.
Fighting Banana Slugs. I love that name because that's so Santa Cruz.
That's Santa
That's
Cruz.
just how they are. That's
Yeah.
I'm gonna play. No,
I
I'm
don't
all
know.
right.
Let's finish up because I got to take off.
Well, finish up.
Let's talk about the Eagles game and let's talk about the Washington game.
Let's talk about the Eagles game, the Washington game. Give your insight on how the restaurant's going to be during the games this year. But let's start with those Eagles. And I'm telling you what,
the game I'm looking forward to more than anything else. While you were gone, that's all I was talking about.
I see the Lions beat the Eagles with all my heart and soul. I'm going to put, instead of the Eagles faces, Ohio State faces on them. That's how much I want to see them lose. And by the way, Michigan will win again this year. But,
there's no question about it.
Yeah, but I don't think Philly's going to do as good as they think they will against the Lions. Hit me.
A healthy Detroit Lions team?
Healthy Detroit Lions team.
They can't. We're the only team that's more physical than them.
That's right. That's right.
And that's
really
what it'll
true.
be.
And we do have the grace of the bye week in week number 8 instead of 4.
Yes, finally got one at a decent time. And I wouldn't mind if it was actually week 10, to be honest with you.
Oh, it wouldn't bother me at all.
No.
No.
That week 4 bye week, that's brutal.
No, that was horrible. That's where all the injuries hit and blah, blah, blah. Hey, it's fun. But when you get the Eagles, too, you're getting the tush push did not pass, right? And Eagles had money out with all that. And I think, and I mean this sincerely, if there's a tush push during the Eagles-Lions game, Calvin Shepard is going to concentrate on stopping it.
How?
He's going to take the line, right? And you have McNeil, and you have him, but have someone right in the middle there to go right underneath the center. Go right underneath the center.
One of them has to, because you can't.
Get a smaller guy. Get like a Rodrigo, okay,
or
Barnes,
and just lift him up,
and just
stand him up.
and they can just push him through. As soon as the ball snapped, they push him through, lift him up, and they got him. I swear to God, something will happen.
So you're saying
Did you get my idea, Mr. Shepard, Coach Shepard? Did you
put
hear me?
another defender on the line. In between.
Yeah, and all it has to be is 1 foot back, so it doesn't knock them out of sync, right? So they can be.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Aligned. Yep.
Aligned. Thank you. Legally, and that's all you would need. Have one guy in the middle, and the first thing they will do is call a timeout.
Here's the thing: is we grew up.
Put Hutch in that middle.
I don't want to take a chance of getting him injured. We grew up where any kind of push was illegal.
That's exactly.
You couldn't push an offensive player. You couldn't do that.
No.
Nowadays, you can, and we've seen it. And the Eagles, all they did is capitalize on a rule that the NFL is not willing to change yet.
No, they're not.
Yeah, that's all it is. Excuse me, gentlemen.
Hey, thank you.
Jeff, have a wonderful day, man. I'm about to take out. Well, I'll call you soon. Yep, thanks. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. I got to head over to the other place. Mike, great talking to you.
Get over to Gilbert, right?
Got to head over to Gilbert.
That's at 1422.
West Warner Road.
Warner Road. That's it.
Yep, Chandler Gilbert.
Okay. We'll talk about them in the end, too, because I always.
That sounds good. We're going to do 1 or 2 podcasts over there.
Sounds good to me. I'll get over there. I have to because Dee Dee is like getting on my friend of mine. And she wants to go over to the other one. She lives near, and I promised her we'd go over.
Yeah,
I'll bring this with me. How's that? We'll do that.
Sounds good.
We'll do a podcast over
I'm out, guys.
All right. Peace, love, and rock and roll, my brother. Let's see, world famous, infamous David Nature here, owner of Detroit Coney Grill. We have been rocking through this, talking a whole lot of things, and it's been a lot of fun. And I want to thank. I've got some listeners I want to thank. I do it a different way. We're excited down here. The Tigers got people excited. The Lions coming up have people excited. And I want to talk about some of our subscribers here who are just wonderful people. They love our show. They love coming down here. QB Development, right here, right over here. And give them a call at 602-830-9735. And if you're doing any kind of development at all, whether it's a house, whether it's a piece of a room in a house, You want to build something extra, they'll develop, they'll design, and they'll build it for you. QD Development, give Barty a call. QB, Quality Builders. Once again, that number is 602-830-9735. And then the Chapman V&W, a couple of really good friends of mine, Lester Perales and Nettie Davenport. They're a couple of fine salespeople. They're partners in crime. They work together pretty mostly. Lester does speak Spanish, so anybody who español wish to go down there, you may do so, eh? And give Lester a call, all right? And he is at, I'm going to pull this up here so I can read the dang thing. Give Lester a call, 480-424-3560. And then Nettie Davenport at 520-213-1421. Over at Hyundai, you got Sean Slattery. Now, Sean just runs around everywhere in there. He's a good guy, really works hard. Sean does sell great Hyundais. Any kind of a deal, talk to Sean about it. And give him a call at 602-358-3206. Set up an appointment, what have you. And also in that neighborhood, Robbie Lemon is over there at Mark, Rams fan. Give him help. Swear to God. Go down there and tell him Shoeshine Mike said to give you help. Robbie Lemon, but he's a really good guy. Anytime you need a Kia, please give him a call. Support our podcast. It's 480-425-5300. That's Robbie Lemon. Now, we were talking about the Lions. We were talking all that other stuff. Something else I wanted to get out of here. Now, for the next couple of weeks, today I want to do Michigan schedule, and then next week we'll do Michigan State schedule. So let's get to work on that Lions game. So yeah, I can't wait for season to start. I'm serious, and I really want to see our Tigers win again tonight. That would just be so off the chart. You know, we talked about John Morton. It's going to be fun. Yeah, the tush push. Now the Lions put forth in the owners' meeting a couple of days ago, and they had something they want to do. They wanted reseeding of the games after the wild card game in the playoffs. I'm against that. Leave and go where they be, and whoever gets it gets it. And they took it back, so it wasn't voted on because they took it back. Let's get to the Michigan schedule. Now, knowing this, first two games. Now, Shamor Moore, the coach of Michigan, might be suspended. Okay, and I don't think the first game would hurt us as much because it's New Mexico and Michigan. We should take that without blinking an eye. But then we go to Oklahoma. We go to Oklahoma, and they've had a decent team. Not as good as they have been, right? Not as good as they have been. I think we'll take it, but it might be close. After that, Central Michigan comes to Ann Arbor. We'll take care of that. Blue at Nebraska. Nebraska's gotten so much better. It's kind of amazing. But Nebraska played some good games last year, and they were tough. Wisconsin at the Blue. Payback. Beat them up. The Badgers. And then we go to USC, who we beat last year. So, there's all these, because of the realignment of the Big Ten, Pac-12, and all this other good crap. It's just kind of hard to root for somebody for the Pac-12. It always will be. Blue at USC, Blue will win. Then Washington comes down. Hey, good to see you. All right, sir, I will. A friend of mine just came in and grabbed something there, John. And so Blue at USC. Now, Washington at the Blue. I'm taking Blue because Washington does not have a quarterback, and they really don't know what's going on up there. They have to redo the whole thing after the playoffs. A couple of years ago where Michigan won the national championship. And then Blue at MSU. Okay, little brother. And we'll be in East Lansing for that one. And I'm taking Blue in all of these. I always do. But Michigan State will put up a fight. Purdue at the Blue. Blue wins that one. At Purdue. Then Blue at Northwestern. Northwestern's come up with some good teams lately. But I still see Detroit, the Michigan Wolverines taking care of that one. I really do. Let's see. Who else we got here? After that, we go to Maryland. Maryland's been good lately. That might be one sneaky game. That's one I would keep an eye on. All right? I would keep an eye on that. And then comes the big one. I want to have a question for each and every one of my subscribers. I'll see them this week. If Ryan Day loses one more time to Michigan, which would be 5 straight, Michigan's got a good team this year. They drafted well. They're going to get not drafted well, but they canvassed well for other players. I can honestly see Michigan winning one more time there. Okay, and that could be the fun. All right. So that's the Michigan schedule. I wanted to get that done. Please forgive me. No, we've had a busy show. It's a long show today. All right. Now we're going to start taking phone calls during the games, and we're going to get that set up for the Hall of Fame game. It's the Chargers and the Lions. Then it's July 31st. It's a Thursday night, so we'll be here on a Thursday night just having fun watching that game. And we'll see who's inducted to the Hall of Fame, and it's usually a whole lot of fun. But what's fun about that game? It's an early preseason game. The preseason starts the week after that. I like the preseason being all of August. I really, truly do. Um, so we'll have that. And then we'll see how it's all coming because Labor Day this year is the first of the month. So I like it coming early. I like that early. I really do. And Labor Day is my favorite holiday because we know the chill's coming back. The cool is coming back to Arizona. And I want to give a shout out to my friends up in the Upper Peninsula. My sister Ellie down by Indian River, Michigan, right by the Mackinac Bridge on the south side of it. And they've been getting hit still with more snow, more horrible weather, thunderstorms and tornadoes coming through central Michigan. Y'all hang tight. Y'all hang tight. Spring is coming. I mean, it's late May. I hope it does come for you. But if there's a late May, you're probably going to have a pretty good summer. Okay? I hope the best for you. Ellie, hang in there. And happy birthday to you, honey. So we got all that done. Thank you, everybody, for the craziest, one of the best shows we've had. Okay? A couple more shout-outs to friends that I love. Over at Right Honda, Gibby, how are you, brother? And we got Rocky. All right, kept those two at 480-778-2440. They're salespeople there. They know their business. But the one I really love too, Hunter Bridgman. And Hunter is just probably one of the more steady people I've known in my life. Hunter is just a good salesman and a good guy. He's at 614-974-8770. So enjoyed doing it today. We'll see you again next week. We'll be a little more mellow next week. I'll see if I can get to the Gilbert location soon. I might try that one next week. That might be a good week to do it. In the meantime, please do me a favor. Have a good day. Be nice to everybody and go Lions. And there is no score yet in the Lions and Cleveland game. Okay? Wait, someone's going around the bases. Uh-oh. I'm trying to see what happened here, but they got the closed caption on, so you can't see the scores and stuff. Oh, well. Anyway, there's no score. So do me a favor. Have a good evening. We'll talk to you really soon. And God bless you.